Guardians, we've picked up a high-gain transmission. Origin point is somewhere along the coast, near the Cosmodrome.
What is up, Guardians? This is Cosmodrome Radio, broadcasting from here all the way from Neomuna, because we're hanging out on Neptune, getting ready for Lightfall. That is less than a week away. We are not at the Cosmodrome right now, but we are still Cosmodrome Radio. We are hanging out with some Cloud Striders, getting ready for what's going down. And man, did Bungie really up the ante in terms of things that are going down right before launch? Because man, stuff's going down. This is Cosmodrome Radio, the podcast all about Destiny 2 and everything about it. You can check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, YouTube, all those great places, Amazon Music and Audible, iHeartRadio if that's your platform of choice, all those great places. And you can follow us on Twitter at Cosmodrome Radio. And if you just need to find a link to where you can listen to the show, to go to cosmodromeradio.com and you will see where you can listen to this show. But my name is Panda the Paladin. I'm struggling because I am officially 19 runs into this week's Grandmaster Nightfall, and I've only gotten 3. Actually, only 2, like half the god roll I need, while the other 18 Wendigos have been horrible. To the Bungie developer that thought putting Rangefinder on a heavy grenade launcher in the 4th column on an adept weapon that everyone's trying to farm for next season because you're finally making heavy grenade launchers worth people's time. I just want to talk. I just want to talk, because why on God's green earth would you put Rangefinder on a heavy grenade launcher?
Allow them to cross map on PvP.
No. But no,
I've been there for all 18 runs.
No, you haven't, because I did some this morning. But I LFG'd for a couple hours. But no, you were there for about 15 of them. But just in general, I just want to talk, Bungie. I just want to talk. But I should probably introduce my co-host. To my left, we have both of my hooligan co-hosts who are playing Dares of Eternity while I'm actually in my recording studio. But the one who has been suffering in GMs with me all week, who already has his god roll, and I'm salty about it, we have Alchemy.
Both the god rolls. I'm doing
both
quite
of the
good.
god rolls.
Not the clown cartridge and the explosive light and the auto-loading explosive light roll.
I got auto-loading explosive light. I just need spike nades, and I haven't got spike nades, and it's just like, Bungie, you're messing with me. So we almost there. We almost there. We want to do some more tonight and tomorrow. We're gonna have some fun. It's fine. And then we have the clan mom, the tower mom, the hardest working one there is. How you doing?
I'm doing good, my dear. How are you?
I'm stressed because someone at Bungie thinks it's a good idea to put Rangefinder on a heavy GL, but it's fine. It's fine. We're gonna move past it.
That either. I agree with you. Like, what the heck? It's a freaking heavy GL. You don't need Rangefinder on that. All you got to do is point and shoot.
Like sidearms, pulse rifles, scout rifles, I hand cannons. I can get behind it, but on a GL, my guy, somebody, I just want to talk, please. But it's fine. It's fine. We gonna do some more runs tonight, and we'll make it work. It's fine. So Bungie, like we already said, sort of just dove straight into it beginning of the week, just throwing hands, and off rip, the community is caught split down the middle about this. And for once, I actually am on the side of the content creators and hardcore players when it comes to this, and it's going to be an interesting conversation. So Bungie decided to roll out an article called "Bringing Challenge Back to Destiny," where they talked about the different things they're doing to add difficulty back into the game. They're doing certain things, not only eliminating the adept level of content. There's only going to be hero, legend, and master and grandmaster now. There's not going to be the depth version. And off the rip, people are concerned. And we're not going to go like super in depth with it. We'll highlight a couple of certain things that Bungie did kind of add to the article because other content creators, and also we'll link the article in the description because going through the whole thing verbatim would be kind of excessive, like just like right now. But we are going to talk about it specifically because of the fact that it has raised a lot of concerns because people see the changes that are coming, and without even being able to play the content yet, people are up in arms. A lot of the casual community is very much saying that we aren't going to be able to complete the content. There's not enough reward for the content being like harder. The game is going to be too hard for casual players. And I like normally I'm very much someone who's like make the game accessible to everybody, make it so like anybody could dive in. But when it comes to this specifically, especially when they're like eliminating the adept, they're making it so because they even said next season soft cap, which is where you stop getting exponential growth and only get like you get smaller bumps and levels like afterwards, because soft cap and hard cap are usually about a 10 light level difference. But for an expansion is usually about a 50 level difference. So you're gonna see it being somewhat harder to grind that content and get your pinnacles. They said soft cap is gonna be 1750, and the power cap, the hard cap is gonna be 1800. So even with the artifact pushing you to like 1815, 1820 or whatever, your max legendary armor this season is going to be 1800 even. And yet, Bungie came out and said, okay, cool. Hero activities for season 20 are going to be 1770. Legend is going to be 1830. Master is going to be 1840. And GMs are just always going to be minus 25 power regardless. So, when looking at this and examining this, it doesn't seem that bad because hero means if you're at hard cap, if you're at power cap where you can't go any higher in light at 1800, that means the difficulty is pretty much going to be the exact same for the hero-based activities. Normal strikes in the Vanguard playlist are going to be about the hero level. You're not going to see constant team wipes in the strikes. And I think that's where people are kind of getting lost because Bungie doesn't really do a good job always explaining their phrases. Like soft cap and power cap has been a mess and a confusion for the community for years. But when you actually like this season specifically, it was 1680 was the hard cap, and then it was like 1690, I believe. Am I correct?
1580, 1590, and then pinnacle cap was 1600.
That's right, 1580 and 1590. So so it's a 10 different because we like this season specifically. If you got to 1580, then your pinnacles would only be like one level up unless you did a raid. It's like one level up, so like one pinnacle will be 1581, and then the next week 1582, etc. You have to slowly go from soft cap to power cap. But even with soft cap, if I'm at 1750, that means a hero-based activity is only going to be 20 light above me, which is average content. So while they are kind of saying, hey, we're going to be adding different modifiers, like we're saying mismatch shield, we are getting rid of match game. They said it's flat out, we're getting rid of match game, but that doesn't mean elemental shields are just going away. Like that, but there'll still be elemental stuff that affects different things. But mismatch shields, like say if I have a solar scout rifle and I shoot a void shield, it does 50% less damage versus if I had a void scout rifle shooting a void shield. That makes sense.
Which is what it does currently anyways, isn't it?
I think it's a different percentage. I think like I don't know specifically. Someone would have to do the math, but I don't know specifically. But even here, I don't have a problem with that. That just means it's across the board. They won't be adding match game as a modifier, and this is just what it's going to be across the board. So I'm cool with that. I bring adaptive munitions into activities anyway. So I'm that guy. But
I mean, I feel like adaptive munitions is going to be more viable now.
Almost definitely.
Oh
And they're
yeah,
even and
absolutely.
oh, it's gonna be great. And like they even said, hey, we're getting rid of burns. There's gonna be surges and threats. Surges increases your outgoing damage. So your damage like will be, I believe outgoing means like
Amplified.
to you or outward. I can't think. I think
Outgoing is the damage that you do
right, cool. And then it says threats are the damage that enemies
coming to
do.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they explains that overcharge weapons are going to be weapons that deal 25% more damage in an activity. So, like, randomly in a certain activity, pulse rifles will do more damage. SMGs will randomly do more damage. Like, if you really sit down and look at this, it's not really anything different than what we've already been doing. They're just changing certain words and adding a couple other things that make it more fun.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Tower.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with you.
Um,
Yeah.
and like in general, I think the issue with the community is, and like I said, normally I'm very much like advocate for the casual community, advocate because like streamers and content creators and hardcore players, they kind of have a warped perspective on things, and people have heard me bitch and moan about the resilience changes, and recently people have been outcrying saying well needs to be nerfed, and I'm like, shut up, it's fine, there's nothing
No,
wrong
it
with it.
doesn't.
You can still get one shot in a well, so I don't want to hear it.
I don't know
So,
how many times that happened this weekend.
oh my god, we were in corrupted and we were getting one shot, but my freaking or in Glassway we were getting one shot in wells. But
And also One and Nothing as well.
yeah, so it's like in general, like there's still certain things that content creators need to kind of like calm down about. But when it comes to this, I'm gonna say casual community, we've had it too easy for too long. Like I'll be the one to say it, and like if for you to want to go into an activity with blue armor or low stat armor and like weapons with mismatched perks that you don't have a god roll of yet, and you're just like, I want to just use this and have fun and like yada yada. That's cool. You can have fun, but the content's still gonna be a little bit challenging. You have to try.
Yeah.
Now, let me put a caveat on that. I am not saying what toxic players are saying. I am not saying get good, because that is a stupid phrase. They brought it from Dark Souls and other things. That's not what I'm trying to say. I am saying we have to admit that playing a video game requires playing the video game. We have to put in effort, learn build crafting. If you can listen to this podcast, if you can listen to the other YouTube videos, you can learn how to build craft. You can learn what exotic pairs with what mods next season. Hell, everybody's going into Lightfall with a brand new armor system. We have no concept of what mods we're getting. The only thing we know is war mine cells are gone. Like elemental wells are changing. Charge with light's changing. There's so much going on. And yet people are like, oh, this is the end of the world. Hell, I'm not going to say the person's name. I'm not going to call them out. I'm not going to do them dirty. But I am still going to highlight the fact that there was somebody on Twitter who quite literally posted, like this could totally just be like hyperbole or some bullshit. It could be fake. Like they posted a picture of their monitor where they punched their monitor in frustration. And the caption says, when Bungie announced the difficulty changes yesterday, I couldn't control my anger and I destroyed my TV and threw my Dell laptop at the wall. And I'm just like, what?
Too far. Honestly.
It is so frustrating to see people do that kind of stuff.
And he's like, I've spent hundreds of hours trying to complete certain things and whatnot. And I'm just like, bro, there should, like, hell, like, we've noticed this for years. If you can hop on a Sparrow and speed run a strike, you have it too easy. Like, hands down, you have it too easy. That's just the cut and dry of it. Like, if you're at a high, now granted, this season when we were lower light and the highest battlegrounds being 5 above us kind of kicked our ass at first because we weren't ready for it. That was a little jarring and that was frustrating. But like, it's because we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know that we needed to level up and get on the same page and whatnot. We didn't know what was good. But once we learned, once we acclimated, we were good. And this is going to be the same situation where once we have better mods, once we understand the new system, we're going to have Strand, we're going to have all the other elements and whatnot. 3.0 has rolled out. We will be fine. Now, granted,
Oh yeah.
if someone walks straight out of the Cosmodrome and is like fresh out of the grave with blue armor, they might get their butt kicked a little bit. But I feel like with a little bit of a tutorial and a little bit of work with that on Bungie's end, they'll be fine.
Huh.
But I bitched a minute. Tower, how you feeling?
No. See, bitch away, because the thing that I see about all these people who are, pissed off about the changes and all that kind of stuff, they are the same people who 2 seasons ago were bitching and moaning and whinging on about the fact that it wasn't hard enough. The same
Like half the players.
freaking people. And you know me, I'm a casual player. I chill. I've only been playing for 3 years, and it's taken me this long to learn build crafting, so that tells you how casual I am. I literally just did my first ever GM last week. Like, ever. So very casual. But me, I'm like, yeah, I see that I'm starting to get better, and so things are starting to get easier for me. So yeah, I want a challenge. I've literally been pushing myself for the past 8 weeks trying to do Legend Solo Flawless Seraph Shield because I felt comfortable enough being able to do it on normal. Now I want to push myself. I like that they've gone with the whole normal and legend mode, and you get the chance to sit down and say, okay, you know, I feel comfortable doing this, so let's try the harder mode. Let's see if I can really, you know, get into it, build something that will work for me, and then push myself because it's fun to push yourself. No, it's bullshit to hear all these people whinging and moaning about it. Like, I don't need to hear that.
Right. And before I let Alchemy go, like the one thing that I noticed about like the tail end of the article, they're saying they're going into nightmare hunts and Shadowkeep, they're going into Empire hunts and Beyond Light, they're going into campaign weekly missions and adding the different features. They're literally retuning the entire game to have more engaging content. Like you shouldn't think of it as they're adding more difficulty to it. They're saying we're trying to give you a little bit of a challenge and make it more engaging. That way you can't just run in with a random gnawing hunger you just got a drop and it has horrible perks. Like you can't just run in with a blue cost or like a cost off and think you're gonna pull something out of your ass. Like you have to actually learn some of the game a little bit. Not get good, not be like the pro. You have to play the game more. And that's not a bad thing. Granted, I know some people have like 19 kids and counting and all that like this stuff. I have a 2 to 10 job Monday through Friday, and I'm here recording this show, about to go run GMs after we're done. I understand. I understand what's going on with casuals. I understand that you have that going on. Like I'm not a streamer. That's not my main source of income. I don't do that. I stream occasionally, but it's not like that. I understand the casual experience of having kids, having a job, having different responsibilities, and then coming home and doing a little bit. But and I think it was Worm on YouTube who said it best today. He said Bungie never intended you to do Lake of Shadows in 5 minutes.
No,
like let's
I don't think
they never did.
Bungie allowed. Yeah, like that's kind of ridiculous that you can complete that strike in that short of a time.
That's the whole reason why they're redoing Lake of Shadows and Inverted Spire. They're making it so you can't do that anymore. But how can we speak on it?
I honestly, coming from a player that's been playing since Taking King, and I usually do high-end content. Like, even for me, some of this shit and high-end content, like, sometimes it can be a little bit too easy, but the GMs that we've been running these past few days, like, they've been kicking my ass.
I got literally, I got one shot by an overload Minotaur. He stepped through my barricade and one punched me, and I was like, what?
Yeah, like
Was that the one
that's
that
a
I
little bit
saw
ridiculous.
last night or the other
Yes,
night?
yes.
That was beautiful. I loved it.
It's just like that, because don't get me wrong, there is still going to be engaging content. There's still going to be hard content, but there
Yeah.
should be no reason why in a video game there is just no challenge. Like, if you want to play it for the story, that's cool, but there should still be like your elemental gun does less damage against a different element, things of that
Yeah.
nature. There should still be a little bit of a challenge when it comes to beating a boss. Like, I'm not like the even Doom Eternal Easy mode still makes you hit certain things to accomplish your goal. Like, come on,
On that one.
like
I played I played I'm Too Young to Die on Doom, and yeah, it's still really, really hard.
like there's still going to be a challenge in every video game. Hell, even like freaking Mario had like you still have to stomp the Koopa to accomplish the goal. Like you still have to go through things. Like Bungie has given us plenty of time to learn the system. Now, granted, if you're fresh out the grave and you're still coming into the game, it might suck a little bit, and I can sympathize there. You don't have great exotics, you don't have great armor yet, but they're looking at this as we've given plenty of time. We're gonna put you on the next step on the staircase, not like 5 steps. The next step. It's about damn time, as Lizzo would say. Like that's where I'm at with this, and like if people need help, we got you. Come join the Discord. We got you. We will help you with stuff. But that doesn't mean yell at Bungie, punch your monitor, and whatnot.
Like, no,
Roll
that's
your
a little bit too
darn
far.
laptop. Yeah, jeez,
He said, I threw my whole ass Dell laptop across the room. I was
Uh-huh.
dead. Like, that was too much. But, like we just wanted to go, like they even said, hey, we understand that, like, you want better rewards for things if we're going to up things up. That's cool. And people are kind of that's like a hot topic that people said when it comes to the difficulty of raising. They're like, if the difficulty's going up, we should give more rewards. No, you shouldn't.
No.
You expect to be rewarded for doing Lake of Shadows in 5 minutes? No, you shouldn't.
Oh.
You should literally get nothing but glimmer for doing Lake of Shadows in 5 minutes. That's what you should get. If you can get through a strike and get the high score and do all the enemies, cool. Here's some engrams. And people forget, we're getting tons of new weapons in a few weeks. Well, not a few weeks, less than a few days. We're getting strand weapons when the expansion comes out, compared to when Beyond Light happened, where we got one exotic that was stasis. Other than that, we had nothing. Like, we're getting Season of Defiance weapons. We're getting freaking Lightfall weapons. Like there's going to be raid weapons soon. There's going to be tons of stuff to chase, and people are like, we want more rewards. You're getting legacy focusing soon.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that's the other thing too.
Calm down.
Like they're definitely going to be like boosting the multipliers for you to grind the content, because here in a minute you're going to want to go to Zavala and get yourself a strident whistle or a hothead or something else, and you'll be able to focus it rather than having to wait for a random drop. And they don't want that to be easy. They want you to have to work for that strident whistle. They want you to have to work for that hothead, because if you didn't have to work for it, you would have it like, hey, I got my god roll. I did Lake of Shadows in 5 minutes. And it's like, what?
That's kind of like fucked up.
Like, you can't just assume you're gonna like just get like everything in the game for free. Like, that is unrealistic and not something that you can do. Like, granted, you should still be rewarded for your time, but you still need to put in the effort. Not get good, still play the game and put in some effort. We're not expecting you to solo flawless a dungeon. We're expecting you to put a little bit of effort into your build, go into an activity, and accomplish the activity. And I think I'm reasonable in saying that.
Oh,
Honestly,
absolutely.
you are.
Excellent.
We are all in
Um,
agreement.
I appreciate that we're all in agreement as I sip my G Fuel. And G Fuel is not a sponsor. I just really enjoy their Sheets exclusive grape gummy flavor. So like now G Fuel, if you want to send me like a case of this per week, I will say we're sponsored by G Fuel, but that's not the case.
Or Gamer Subs.
Nah, forget that waifu shit.
Advanced GG. Advanced GG.
I'll be
Oh
down with
my
Advanced GG.
god,
I can
dude.
get with Advanced GG, but like, I don't need like waifus
Oh.
on my shaker cups. That's just doing too much. But no, from there we definitely want to touch on the Strand developer insight thing we got, because people were talking about how, like, once again, like the hunter looks amazing, the warlock looks amazing, but the Titan's kind of looking lackluster. And yeah, because
Kind of.
and this goes back to the PC Gamer article where I forget what dev talked about it, that they even said they misspoke and they need to, like, they'll touch on it later and they'll like work on changing some of it if it becomes need to. But here's the thing that no one wants to admit. Until this season, because of 2 artifact mods, there was no reason to run stasis in high-end content. Like either like except for Loreley on Solar, there's no reason to run Solar in high-end content. Unless you're just like being a Chad and running subsets to get more automatic kills. It's either you run Arc for Thunder Crash or you run Bubble or Banner Shield for like Void. Other than that, Titans have nothing in high-end content. You can't run Fists of Havoc in high-end content. Even with the 20% buff we're getting, you're not going to see anyone run Fists of Havoc in PvE. You can't run Hammers in PvE because it really doesn't do anything but burn up miners. Stasis just finally became viable from 2 artifact mods that are about to go away. And next season, because of the champion changes, Stasis might be meta. But when looking at strands from the Titan perspective, cool, we get woven mail, we get like armor similar to Void. But other than that, the super is just another Fist of Havoc Stasis clone.
Honestly.
And that's what has people upset. And it's rightfully so, because people keep thinking Titans are broken. And here's the controversial opinion that no one wants to hear. If you don't play Titan, you don't understand what that struggle is. I play all 3 classes despite being a Titan main, and I can understand that like Warlocks are kind of suffering from a PvP standpoint. Titans are struggling across the board, and Hunters actually have it pretty good right now, if we really want to sit down and think about it. So, looking at this, like, other than the Touch of Thunder thing that happened with PvP recently, and Juggernaut, Arc Titan's barely doing a thing. They're trying to like complain and all get out about the Void Overshield, but in reality, the Void Overshield isn't that broken. You can still one-shot it with almost every shotgun in the game. So
Sniper.
and snipe it. You can still snipe it as well. So that conversation is overblown. In reality, Titans are very much struggling from an in-game standpoint, and Bungie fails to understand that, because I'll bet you any amount of money, unless the uppercut like slash attack is just busted in PvE, no one is gonna run Strand Titan in a GM. It's not gonna happen. I'm just being honest with you. But does some of it look very exciting from like a casual PvE standpoint, maybe a PvP standpoint? Very much so. I can very much get down with a lot of this, because you see like the Hunter, the Titan, and the Warlock have a lot of flexibility. You kind of see how they recycled some of the Warmind cell animation with the like different things you can do with the Strand Orb. My favorite thing was the fact that you could throw the orb and then grapple onto it.
That's gonna be fun. It honestly is.
Yeah, warlocks can hit the tangle with their melee, their powered melee, or their super, and create even more threadlings.
Which I even saw with that aspect, when you put down your rift, you get like 8 threadlings, and I was like, damn. I hope those things can't go. I hope those things can't go around corners because that might be a problem in PvP.
Yeah.
It'll be a
That
problem like when our turrets started tracking around corners and stuff like
Ooh,
that. Yeah.
ooh,
Remember they had to nerf warlocks, stasis warlocks because the super would track around corners
yeah.
incorrectly and hit and just like keep tracking almost as much as Slova does, and then the turrets do it.
It was a
They
little excessive.
It was a little
Mm.
excessive, yes. I will admit, even as a warlock, I will admit that. Um, but I think they came up with a really nice middle ground with both of those after the nerfs. I was happy with those. Will this
um,
person stop taking on us? Oh my god. Leave us alone, yeah.
wait, what
I
happened?
just saw that.
Oh, we're sitting in the tower, literally just sitting and chilling with the Lixney babies like you do. And this dude is coming over to us and literally teabagging on our heads.
This is what happens when your co-hosts are playing the game while you're in the studio.
We're
But
just chilling. We aren't even like playing. We're just
Yeah.
we're cuddling with the babies in the tower because, we want to make sure we're doing everything right for you.
fair enough. But no, so like the trailer did look very cool. I'm very excited to see what Strand does overall. If like one thing that I enjoyed from a sound aspect, they explained how they had to like come up with different ways to invent things. Like they pulled out a sheet of plastic wrap and just like scraped all over it and whatnot to create some of the Strand sounds. I'm like, that scratches the good like audio mixing part of my brain. Like, yeah, y'all did good with that. Good job. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
I love learning stuff like that from the devs. It always makes my heart happy to, hear how imaginative they get with stuff like with Beyond Light and Lament not actually being a chainsaw sound. It's
Hmm.
a sped up breast pump.
That still kills me.
It
That still
still
kills
kills
me.
me too.
Like
It's
that's a hell of
literally
a creative idea you had there.
Yep, yep. And then with the Warlock Super for stasis, if you listen carefully, it's literally PVC pipes. It's the
Yeah,
same kind of sound that Blue Man Group uses for their music.
love that.
I know, right? I literally thought I was in a Blue Man Group concert the first time I activated that super. I was like, no.
I think the other thing that I really like enjoyed. I'm not even a hunter main, but the way they describe how you can throw the rope dart, and then if you have to catch it, like you have to actually press the melee button again when it's coming at you, it doesn't automatically catch. That's a really cool mechanic because it incentivizes you to play very responsibly with your system. Like you actually have to like watch for it to bounce across a couple enemies and then catch it when it comes back. Because if you don't catch it when it comes back, you lose it. And it's like, that's cool. That gives you a reason. And when you catch it, you don't get it back fully. It gives you like some like energy, some melee energy back. So like imagine if you have like a melee kickstart plus the rope dart, you have about like 75% of it back probably. So that's a
They
cool
said about a
incentive to actually play
third.
with it.
Yeah, they said it'll return about a third of your melee energy back when you catch it. If you
That's
catch
actually really cool.
Yeah, if you catch it
Yeah.
properly. So that'll be really cool for the hunters out there. Got to
Most
learn how to get that that double input going on.
Most definitely. So like that was very much to do. It was small. It was 6 minutes. Just like you see the excitement. I know a lot of people were concerned about the suspension mechanic. Well, like because it even picked up a Cyclops, and I'm like, first of all, they already said when you're suspended, you can still hip fire your weapon. So in PvP specifically, you're about to see a last word meta probably happen if we're being honest, because you're gonna see like, okay, cool, I'm lifted into the air, fan of fire, the last word.
Last word probably Fellwinters for the shotgun mains because I
Probably.
think, yeah, if I remember correct, Fellwinters has a hip fire buff, doesn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah, so that'll be coming back too.
Anything with hip fire grip.
Yeah, like just anything with hip fire grip will be more incentivized. That'll be kind of cool.
Hip
Unfortunately,
fire
I
grip
actually
will be the next new meta for PvP.
that'd be kind of funny. So like it'll be I will think the first week or two of the Crucible is going to be very interesting, and I love that the comments on Twitter have been, yo, when you really sit down and think about it, they're not showing any PvP gameplay, and I'm like, there's probably a reason for that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They're probably very concerned about what's going to happen in PvP.
Oh yeah, it's gonna
Yeah,
be
PvP is
chaos
gonna
for
be
the
a
first couple of
shithole
weeks.
for the very first week.
So that'll be interesting to see what happens there. Well, before we dive into as we're diving into the TWAB, before we dive into the trailer, I very much want to talk about something that I see with the community overall, especially when this TWAB came out and when the article last week from Blackburn came out. There's one question that the community keeps asking, and it very much makes me laugh. Where's Gambit? Like,
To go over here now because I'm a Gambit main and I love my Drifter.
well, no. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to hear your piece on this, because let's keep it 100. Except for like the really hardcore dredging people, no one is playing Gambit, because Gambit, ever since Beyond Light, has been nothing. It's been like, even when they tried to, like, when Witch Queen came out, they're like, hey, we're gonna give you some heavy ammo crates, and we're gonna change some of the spawns for the invasions, so that way, like, we'll change some of the spawns for the primeval minions. That way, it's a little like more difficult. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, but like, what happened to Gambit Prime? What happened to like the other 5 or 6, or not 5 or 6, but like 3 or 4 different maps that like you can't even make the excuse of, oh, the darkness took those planets. We're still playing on Titan, but we can't play on the Dreaming City map. Like that problem. We're seeing the issue of no map support for there, even worse for the Crucible. We're seeing no developments in terms of like we're seeing a weapon per season with it. Like they introduced a Gambit sniper rifle this season that no one cared about.
Yeah.
So it's like it very like when people say, "Hey yo, like Bungie doesn't care about Gambit," they really mean that, because even when there were some people that were like, Bungie fixed Gambit and Witch Queen. No, they didn't. They didn't do anything with it. They gave you
all they
heavy
did
ammo
was add
crates, and that was it.
Yep. They changed around the spawns a little bit. They added the ammo crates. The problem is that the things that they addressed weren't the things that needed to be addressed. Things like dealing with the mixed sandbox. And you and I have talked with this before, Panda. The mixed sandbox really, it needs to be tuned better. A lot
It
of
needs to have its own
right?
sandbox. If they went
Yeah.
back and gave it its own sandbox, you could see Gambit doing its own thing. But then we had random things like last season, or like not last season, like during Witch Queen, they were like, hey, we're gonna nerf Galahorn's tracking across the board because people in Gambit are upset.
Yeah.
What?
What? See, my biggest problem though isn't a Gambit issue. It's a subclass issue.
Ooh, speak on it.
So, and I've been saying this since it dropped. Squall, Silence and
Ooh.
Squall has a duration that is way too long. Okay. It is, yes, we know it's a roaming super. It moves, it's great, it's wonderful. But when it comes to an invader, running out of time and they panic cast their super and it lasts for a whole 30 seconds and goes around the entire map and gets them 2 armies of 1 because it just lasts, or they die, but right beforehand they cast it and it lasts as well. That's not that's like not tuned. That's not fair. That's not okay. Every other type of super or ability that every other type of super or ability will despawn as soon as the invader leaves or as soon as they die. I have
Alchemy, you know
not
what I find
seen
really funny?
any other super like that.
What?
I haven't played Gambit in 2 seasons, and I didn't know this was a problem.
Well, like I said, it's not a Gambit problem. It's it's a stasis hunter
Subclass.
problem.
Well,
It's a
and like even in
subclass
Crucible
problem
though,
in
there's a
general.
way to usually get away from Squall. Like you have enough
Oh
time.
yeah, you can get away from it. You can get away from it, but it still shouldn't last 30 seconds after you've died, after the caster has
Yeah.
died. That doesn't happen with something like sunspots. It doesn't happen with hammers. It doesn't happen with freaking landfall for arc. It doesn't happen with Dawnblade or well. If you cast a well and you die, your well's gone.
Yeah.
It's just gone. Your healing well, gone. Your barricade, gone as soon as you're dead. But
You're right.
Hunter's Silence and Squall just stays. And it stays.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. And like I think the one thing that like as we go into Lightfall that Bungie has yet to address, there is only one thing in the entirety of PvP or even in Gambit that can like break out of stasis, and it barely even does that right. And it's Path of Burning Steps. Path of Burning Steps is supposed to allow you to like negate stasis issues and like break out very fast and escape and whatnot, but it really doesn't. And they're like, you would think with them going, hey, we're gonna introduce like a dark ice ability, they would introduce like, hey, maybe solar does more damage to it. Nope. Like you would think like solar abilities, solar things like would do more damage. Nope. And it's very odd to me. But like I get what Tower's saying, because especially if an invader just comes in and chucks a Squall, that shit ain't going away for a hot minute.
No, it's not. It's not. They if you come in as a hunter invading and you immediately cast your super, it stays for the entire invasion period. So you're able to get a easily army of one because of the Silence and Squall roaming. Plus you get all of your weapon kills. Like
Well, and like,
what the
not
heck?
only that, and like to go into the sandbox issue of Gambit in general, like along with the Galahorn thing, that's the reason why Sleeper Simulant was nerfed into the ground across the board. You saw it disappear from play, not just Gambit, from play for so long because Bungie said, hey, yo, no, it's broken to Gambit, cool, nerf it everywhere else. Same thing with Queenbreaker. We haven't seen Queenbreaker do anything in so long because it was nerfed because of Gambit.
Yeah.
And it's like Truth. Look at Truth. Truth got nerfed into the ground, and we don't see Truth anymore since Galahorn came into D2. Like, Truth is just non-existent in everyone's vaults or collections, and it just sucks. Like, if we're going to continue to have Gambit be a thing as a pinnacle activity, Gambit needs to have the maps that are still in existence, like Dreaming City. You like the
Tangled Shore.
Tangled Shore, like Tangled Shore can come back because it's attached to Dreaming City. You can have things come back and rotate, because half the time you only end up on Titan, and it's just funny. Like, and it's just like they need to add more maps to Gambit. They need to they need to pretty much redo the system, because there was a point where Gambit was looking to be an esport, and like it even had an esport tournament, like one tournament, and then they never did it again. And it was like, this could have been an esport for Destiny if it had its own sandbox. You needed to have a Gambit dev team for that sandbox, separate from the Crucible and separate from the PvE. Because when you really think about it, similar to like Hunt Showdown, it's a PvPvE game. It's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
Or they could just bring back Gambit Prime. Because that's when Gambit really flourishes, when Gambit Prime was in the game.
Yeah. I think that's what they were trying to do with the changes to Gambit and Beyond Light. And then again in Witch Queen was try and make it more like Prime. But take away, the 3 rounds and all that kind of stuff. They were trying to consolidate it into one mode.
Yeah. But they need to
But
bring back Gambit Prime because, like, that's when Gambit really flourished.
they
And
should have just kept Prime and got
yeah,
rid of Ace Gambit, in my opinion.
yeah,
Yeah, you right. You very right.
And then make the changes based off of Prime rather than based off of base Gambit.
yeah.
Because like if you
Also,
really think
bring
about
back
it,
the
no one plays Gambit unless there's a boost going on. No one like even if you put the seasonal challenges in the seasonal challenge pool, no one plays. I just admitted a minute ago to Alchemy that I haven't played Gambit in 2 seasons. I'm about to play Gambit for the first time tomorrow to get bounties done for Lightfall. Like there's been no reason to. Even they introduced a brand new pulse rifle, and I didn't even care because it was like, why should I go play Gambit for any reason?
Yeah.
Yep. And as someone who was a Gambit main for the first 2 years that she played, like, yeah, I'm disappointed. I haven't played. I think I've maybe played Gambit for all of combined total, maybe 3 weeks out of this entire year. Because especially when they added in freelance Gambit, it's really frustrating because it's one for, it's one for all and all for none when
Honestly,
you
because
go
a
into
lot of people don't
freelance.
understand how the game mode works.
Nobody in freelance does. They go in and they just, they're moat stealing, you know, they're not working together, they're not teaming up, and not like, a 1v1. It's not like a 3v3 in Crucible. You have to work together. You have to
Yeah.
listen. You have to have your comms on. Oh my god, you need to be able to hear freaking Drifter, because he will tell you exactly what to do if you just have your audio
Listen.
on. He will
Yeah.
tell you exactly what you need to do. You don't need
Bank those moats. Summon a
exact
prime evil.
exactly, like it's frustrating because people say, "Oh, I don't have audio on. I never listen to this, that, or the other." It's like, well, if you turn it on, you might actually learn something.
Yeah. And
But
like
I'm also, old lady Gambit.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh. But like here's the hot take that no one really wants to hear, because this happened to me in a GM this morning, because
Ooh,
even though I put in the LFG have a mic, like someone came in without a mic and I was like, you know what, I got an hour to work, screw it. And they ended up causing us to wipe in the trade room with the giant Minotaur because
no.
they just went AFK and didn't tell me and the other person. And that's a problem. Like, it's like I will be the first person to say I know people have horrible experiences with some different communities and whatnot, but like, yo, it's 2023. I'm not trying to be like classist or anything, but like a microphone is $10. Like, if you have the money to like to feed yourself and take care of yourself, go get you a microphone, dog. Like it's not even funny anymore. Like, you need to
You
be
can
able to communicate
literally
with your team in the
Also,
heat
the
of battle.
PS5 has a
you
built-in
can
microphone
literally
into the
walk down
remote.
to the corner shop and get a pair of earbuds with an inline mic and hook them into your controller. There you go for like $5. Go down to
Honestly,
Walgreens.
Well,
hit
I've had
with a
some
mic.
problem with those. Like, sometimes
It's
they
better than
cause, like,
nothing,
a
though.
screeching
Right.
noise,
I mean, it's
but also
better
the
than nothing.
PS5 has a built-in mic in the remote.
It's not great, but it's better than nothing. And it's like,
Yeah.
look,
Yeah.
like now, granted, like we know like screaming kids are a problem, and like people who don't change their smoke detector is a problem and stuff like that. But like, it's to a point where, especially in team-based activities, like to the people who can somehow like put in an LFG GM no mic, y'all are crazy. Y'all are out of
Yeah.
your damn
Or
minds.
go
Yeah.
completely flawless without any communication.
Like, yeah, people who like do like yo vault of glass no mic. I'm like, you're out of your damn mind, homie. Like, there has to be call outs. There has to be different things. Like, if you're just gonna like, if you're a PC player, if it's a whole like fire team of just PC players and y'all can type, good for
Mhm.
you. But if you're on a console and you still don't have a mic in 2023, what's going on? Like, if you had a horrible experience, bet we could talk about that. We can help you in the Discord. But like, in terms of just in general, when like, especially when an LFG says have a mic, that's my biggest like what grinds my gears moment. When you show up to an LFG that says have a mic and you don't have a mic.
Right.
And in some cases, it could be a language barrier. But like, at the very least, if something's typed in English and when you request to have a mic, I feel like that should be understood. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you signing up to do that. So that's my mini round on that subject. But like, just in general, like, I feel like Gambit needs to get some love.
It really does.
Most definitely.
So let's talk about this TWAB. So TWAB rolled out talking more about like, hey, bill crafting's coming, hey, things are coming and whatnot. They kind of like spoke a little bit more about the surges and the threats of the overcharges because people were stressed out about it, breaking their monitors and shit like that. Crucible players, my beautiful, beautiful Crucible players. They are gonna have a blog post about Crucible, just not this season. So get off of Bungie's neck, please.
Right.
Now, the one thing that they did put in the TWAB that I find hysterical in the Crucible section is coming in season 20. It's next Tuesday. When it comes to comp and Trials of Osiris, they're adding a new modifier called non-swap, where if
Yes.
you decide to swap your exotic in the middle of the game, it acts the same way as if you would swap your subclass or an aspect. It takes all of your super energy and all of your ability energy back to square one. So you're
About
about
damn
to
time.
so
Yeah.
About damn time.
you're about to see a steep decrease of things. Now, now Alchemy, you are the residential PvP player. I want you to speak on this and why this could be perceived as a good thing.
It's just the best thing that's gonna happen to fucking Crucible because I am tired of so many people. Because I remember that one fucking game of Trials, or was it Calm, that someone that was running Slam, and they switched over to Eternal Warrior to get that overshield. I remember that shit. That shit was so fucking
See,
annoying. But this is gonna stop those sweaty ass fucking Raiju harness hunters.
ooh yeah,
'Cause they're
no,
gonna have to be wearing that shit. They can't
it's
use
Raiju's or
combos.
nothing. That's very true. It's
Yeah.
Raiju's or nothing.
Yeah.
See,
And the friggin' Curass Yeet Titans. As soon as
see,
they get their super, they switch to
That
Curass
really isn't a
and
problem.
yeet
yeah,
into everything.
that's not very prevalent. Now, what's funny about that actually is one of the biggest indicators of if a Titan isn't built for PvP and doesn't know what they're doing is they bring Curious into PvP.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the
They
biggest
do it all the
indicator.
time in Gambit, though. I will admit to that.
Well, and the reason why, and then here was the hot take that I saw on Twitter in regards to the swap thing. If they are going to make it so you can't do this, there needs to be changes done to certain exotics, i.e., Eternal Warrior. Because I've been saying since Arc 3.0 was in beta that Eternal Warrior needed to be reworked. Because we're past the time of, hey, cool, get an overshield when you pop your super, especially when Fist of Havoc is one of the slowest generating supers in the game and not even one of the most powerful. Like, it should be like reworked similar to Doomfangs, where the more melee it kills you get more super or something. They need to do that with it or something similar to make it actually worth it, because there's so many exotics that are just sitting in people's vaults. There's things like Eternal Warrior, like hell, Blight Ranger came out a while back and it's just sitting in people's vaults. Like, there's so many that are just sitting there. Hell, now that Helm of Saint 14 won't be swapped to Hot Swap 2 and BVP, that's barely doing anything other than blinding ads in PvE. So maybe we need to rework that. So like, if you're going to add this to competitive, we need to re-examine exotics across the board. That's what I'm saying.
Agreed.
Because, like, there's things like Apotheosis Veil, there's things like Severance Enclosure that barely does a thing. Like, so many, man. There's so many exotics that just do nothing in the game right now. So,
honestly,
maybe we need exotics 3.0.
Because literally half of the Warlocks right now are running Starfire Protocol, and one exotic I don't see used, Fellwinter's Helm.
Bro, Fellwinter's Helm could be so meta if they actually retuned it.
Yeah. I used to run it a lot. It was one of my favorite exotics. Not just because I'm a Fellwinter simp, but also because I actually enjoy the perks that it gives. But it's become obsolete now. You know? Like I stick with my sun bracers. I use my nades for days. It works, and the only other thing I really ever switch out to is Dawn Chorus for the same, basically the same buff.
Honestly, yeah. And like, here's the thing that,
nades.
and this goes into like exotic talk across the board in terms of like, people are saying that Heart of Inmost Light needs to be nerfed. No, Heart of Inmost Light is never got a buff or a nerf or anything. Well, it's gotten a bit of a nerf recently, but like, it became good because of the 3.0 reworks. It wasn't that the exotic was ever great. It was that once the ability regen was reworked across the board, it was seen as a reason to use it. But then there's things like Insurmountable Skullfort that could do the Arc version of that. They could see Hallowfire Heart get a rework. You could see Doomfangs get a rework. And yet, they're just sitting in. Like, I remember yesterday specifically, when me and Alchemy were running GMs, I got 2 Doomfangs in the same GM, where one dropped on the ground and one was a reward from the GM. And I was just like, wow, it'd be great if Doomfangs did a thing, because I can't use it in PvP. Like, there's no reason to. And they even came out with like a chest ornament to coincide with Doomfangs a while back. And I'm like, I don't know, but I never use it. Right. So it makes me sad, and I hope they do rework a little bit of that.
Or the 2 Warlock ones.
Yeah. Now the thing that I'm excited about in the TWAB, they straight up said, "Hey, here's the whole motherfucking artifact for season 20." And I'm just like, yo. And now there's a little bit of controversy, because not only like they're passive buffs across the board. You don't need to slot anything. However, you can only have 12 mods unlocked at a time, like before, but you have unlimited resets for free. There's no cost. So, like, if you have all of your stuff picked, but you want to try something out, reset, go back through it, pick out what you want, and then do what you want. But it's free. So there's no reason to complain. They want to limit you, but not make it cost you. And I respect that. They listened on that front. So let's talk about what's going on here. We got anti-barrier sidearms. Why? Like, who's really going into a GM with a sidearm for anti-barrier?
I won't lie though, piercing bowstring.
But see, here's the controversial thing. I like other than like this season, like I really don't really enjoy piercing bowstring. I enjoy overload bow because overload bow for everything, like not just Monarch is great because Tiku's with overload, chef's kiss, chef's kiss, just
Yes.
beautiful.
That was the season.
That was so good. Like doing proving grounds with Tiku's just going dink, dink, dink. Like I love that thing. Or just any legendary bow, having the overload with whatever element you want, and then having your anti-barrier in your primary. I enjoy that. We're getting back anti-barrier pulse.
Yep.
Bungie. Let me have anti-barrier scout back, please.
No.
I
That's never
don't
gonna
need
happen.
unstoppable scout.
Right.
Like
Never
I
gonna
like
happen, Panda.
huh?
It's never gonna happen again.
Bro, the best season was season of the Splicer, where you had overload hand cannon and an anti-barrier scout. That was the best season, I'm telling you, because you could roll up into Glassway with a hand cannon in one hand and a scout rifle in the other, and you were fine. But now you got to do all this other shit. Like I remember running into Glassway with Div and Hung Jury, just going ham, and now we can't do that. And it's so sad. It's so sad.
Aw.
So like we're getting unstoppable scout. I'm like, I don't want to run unstoppable scout. It's better than unstoppable hand cannon. I'll say that. But we are keeping the SMGs and auto rifles as overload, which is cool.
Yes.
Now the fun one that's like halfway through the artifact that I want to like fast forward to real quick is Medieval Champion. Because it makes it so not only are we getting unstoppable glaive back, but in the same mod, you get overload sword.
No. I didn't see that.
So caster frame swords are about to be meta as fuck. You're about to see like Soulless Scar, Temptation's Hook, Black Talon, and GMs. Like,
Yes.
like it's about to be nutty. So I'm so down. Like, and then unstoppable. Like I like straight up. Freaking, if we get proving grounds back next season, or like if they, since they're reworking the fucking one Cabal strike, if the modifiers are anti-barrier and unstop, I'm about to roll in with Outbreak and Judgment of Kelgaroth, and no one's gonna stop me.
Nope.
It's gonna be great.
I don't think anybody will.
You'll be unstoppable, dude.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. And like, so column 2, they're doing things like authorized mods where each element will cost less. Like, so they're making it so different elemental mods will cost less across the board, which is kind of cool. They are making it so possibly grenade mods will cost less. So all of column 2 very much feels like, hey, let's make your shit cheaper because we're increasing the cost of some mod, which I can get behind. That's kind of cool.
That's honestly going to be such a great change, and especially if you have a really good grenade build going on.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Then for column 3, they're like, hey, we're gonna give you incentives with things like, hey, Shatter Orb, where if you break a combatant shield, you create an orb of power. So that'll be really good for certain builds, especially with the new armor system. There's gonna be a mod that whenever you pick up an orb of power, you get an armor charge. So that'll be kind of cool to like connect those kind of things. Then there's certain things that like flow with, like, we're getting volatile rounds back, where if you pick up an orb of power, you get volatile rounds. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
Especially if you run if you have a void headpiece and run the can't remember the name of the mod. Let me check real quick since I'm in game.
Now, here's one thing that I'm worried about. That not really worried about, but excited about, because it reminds me of a mod we got a couple seasons ago for Stasis called Counterweave. It sounds very similar to a Stasis mod we got a couple seasons ago, where whenever you or a member of your fire team stuns a champion, you gain energy to your least charged strand ability. Now, if memory serves correctly,
I remember what mod you're talking about.
I forget what it was called, but there was a mod in, I think it was either season 15 or 16 or something, or around that time period, where, because Lake of Shadows was the GM, where whenever you stunned a champion, you got stasis ability energy. So there were times during Lake of Shadows where stasis warlocks had 5 turrets out at one time. So
It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me.
honestly, so like this mod very much feels like we're just revisiting that, and I'm very excited about that prospect. So so a lot of these mods are very awesome. The one that I'm really excited about especially for raids and high-end content is prismatic transfer. Whenever you cast your super, each member of your fire team with a subclass different than you gains bonus weapon damage. So, tether hunters, well warlocks, bubble titans, you about to enable your whole squad.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna be funny. So that's gonna be very much enjoyable. So very much Bungie has very much expanded the ways we do a lot of things, and I don't know if anyone's really gonna care before we because the podcast will be up or a little after the show, so it'll be Friday by the time everyone listens to it. Bungie, in partnership with Sony, is basically letting everyone play Witch Queen from now until February 26th. So if you're a casual player who didn't have Witch Queen, play Witch Queen as fast as possible. That way you get things like Laurelly Splendor Helm, you get Osteostriga, you get all these different weapons that are very beneficial to endgame content. Get them as fast as possible, because in 2 days they're going away from you. And someone even asked this to me today during a GM. Does that mean once you get one Laurelly, does that mean you never can get it again once after 26? No. Once it's in your collections, you can still obtain it. So once it's officially in your collections, it's yours. They can't take it away from you. So go play if you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. You and for warlocks, it's gonna be Secret Filaments. That's a really great exotic, especially if you do void stuff.
There was also the oh gosh.
Reign of Fire was like the season afterward, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And
there's also
think the other one is
different
Necrotic Grips.
gloves that we got. Yeah.
Oh, Necrotic Grip has been there since Beyond Light. What are you talking about?
No,
Oh no, the
not
Ozymancy glove. The Ozymancy gloves.
Yeah,
Ozymancy
Ogeomancy.
gloves.
Okay.
That's the
So
one I'm talking about.
so very much we will have all the different articles linked to, like in the show notes as usual. But we're gonna go ahead and dive into today. Because Bungie said, hey, yo, so like, y'all should really watch that state of play that Sony's putting out today. And beyond me being excited for Resident Evil 4, that's a different show.
Yeah.
The Lightfall launch trailer has everybody with eyebrows raised and concerns out the wazoo. Someone even told me earlier they're scared to even play Lightfall now. And I'm like, oh shit.
Doing
So
the biggest Tekken concerns.
So, Tower, why don't you walk us through this trailer?
Oh, boy. Okay. This trailer is all kinds of messed up. First of all, we have to remember, like, the trailer opens up with like the coolest long shot of the witness just floating above the earth. We have to remember the only person canonically in game who has actually seen the witness and knows what the witness looks like, that's an ally of us, is Mara Sov. And she's there. So she knows. She knows. She's fucked up beyond belief because she knows what's going to be happening. Um, big thing about the trailer for me was I don't know if it's actually going to happen or if it's just a vision that's given to us. But the witness basically Thanos snaps a ghost.
No, he didn't just Thanos have a ghost. He Thanos, like if you watch like the tail end of that clip,
He did.
he cut up the Guardian too.
Yeah, the Guardian, the ship.
Everything.
Yeah. Now, it's not specifically said whether that's us or if it's just another Guardian who is, in the space battle. That's another big thing about the trailer, and
From what
pretty
I've
much
heard,
every single
it's another
trailer.
Guardian.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's not stated in the trailer that that's us or another Guardian. I have it on good authority that it's just a Guardian. But I can't confirm. But yeah, like space battles out the wazoo. We are going to be seeing tons and tons of space battles from what we're getting in the Vidocs, we're getting in all the trailers.
Holiday got
Amanda-
shot the fuck out.
Holiday got
Yeah.
shot out, but she didn't die. She didn't die. She just got shot the fuck down. Because obviously she's part of the seasonal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, she's not dead. She might be hurt, but she's not dead.
Yeah.
One of the other things that really caught my eye about the trailer is the Traveler is basically the Death Star.
Because if you look at it like
At the end of the
the
trailer, it opens up and shoots this gigantic laser.
Yeah.
because the witness tries to touch it and the traveler just kind of like nukes it
Nope.
and like it is like, oh,
Don't touch me, I'm scared.
like it very
Like,
much
eat
went,
it,
this
it's
is my
all-
no-no, like he straight up said like this is my no-no square and just fired. And
Oh,
someone even
God.
pointed out on Twitter that like the inside of the traveler looks remarkably like a servitor, and somebody said, hey, the Elixni knew all along, and I'm like, oh no.
Well, what I'm
Yep.
thinking is, when the Traveler first visited the Elixni, it was in a completely different form than what it is when it's in the
Yeah.
city.
That's
Huh.
very
So it
true.
might been in a proto form or like
That's
an attack
true.
form when
Yeah.
with the Elixni.
Because
Huh.
remember, the Elixni have, thousands of years of more history than we do with the Traveler. So, I mean, because the Traveler had to travel across the galaxy, like, we don't know how far away Reese is from Earth, or Reese was from Earth. So, we don't know if the Traveler was just, hopping across a couple of star systems, if it was literally hopping across from one arm of the galaxy to the completely opposite arm. Hell, for all we know, Reese could have been in a freaking different galaxy, like in the Andromeda galaxy or some shit like that. And that's a long way away. Even
Yup.
at light speed, that still would take a long, long time. I'm not a rocket scientist, I'm not an aerospace engineer or anything like that, so I can't make the calculations. That's a long ass time, both in
Yeah,
distance and duration. So it could have been a protoform. I'm kind of agreeing with you on that one, Alchemy. That's a good spot.
it could be. I'd be interested to see what happens there. But no, just the trailer overall just kind of like raised the ante in a big way across the board. And for those who didn't notice, when Holiday gets shot out of the air, it's Crow who cries out Amanda, not Zavala.
Yeah.
It was. I did not notice. I thought that was Vuvuzela. Okay. So it
Because
was.
like the way he
Oh,
like you hear it, it definitely sounds like Crow. So it's like,
I'll
oh
have to go back and
snap.
listen to that again.
So it's like, ooh, Crow's like, I'm about to lose my
Well,
girl.
we did get in the Vidoc last week. A very, very quick, maybe, I don't know, half a second of Amanda literally holding out her hand and picking Crow up from the ground. So
Mm-hmm.
they're rebuilding their bond. Just from that alone, you know that they're rebuilding their bond. That's
Right.
the hint. So that's a good thing because like I'm glad for that. I've wanted them to I've wanted her to be able to finally realize, okay, this is not Aldrin. This is someone completely different. And she's so young, she's lightless. She's a mortal human, so she's young and she probably doesn't see that happen. He's probably the first person that she's ever had any sort of interaction with before he was risen and now
Yeah.
after he was risen.
Yeah.
So it's a really tough thing for her to kind of legitimize in her brain. So I'm
Right.
glad to see that happening.
Also,
That
Tyler, you also got to remember that ever since the Traveler visited, humans' lifespans are like 300 years now. You also got to remember that.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
still young comparatively to lightless humans. Sure,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he may be like 150, 200 years old. That's still young. I mean, that's still young compared to someone like Eva Levante,
Yeah.
who's at the end of her life,
Yeah.
300, 325.
Every time they pull her out of the closet, she grants 1 year older. Every
We're
time
not
we.
going to get into what my friends think about Eva Levante when we talk about in our private chats about her. Oh
Oh
my God.
God. Okay.
Grandma Eva. She's got to entertain herself somehow.
Oh no. Oh God. Also, someone did notice that Kvostov is in the Lightfall trailer. So some people are theorizing that Kvostov might come back as an exotic. Can we
Like
not?
in B1.
Can we
That would
not?
be the best
I
ever
don't need
movie.
that. I don't need
If
that. Like that gun can be in the prologue and be done. I don't need that gun.
yeah,
No.
But we need it back. We need it
No.
back as an exotic.
Jesus.
it could just be a placeholder. It could just be a generic guardian who didn't want to get rid of their Kvostov, who really enjoyed it,
Jesus.
and it just could be a placeholder for all we know. But
I will say the shot of all the pyramids surrounding the traveler had me like, oh no. Oh no. It's
I saw
about
a
to get
lot.
bad.
I saw a lot of people being like, "Oh, the traveler's just a giant ghost. It looks like Sagira." Like, no, it's just a
Man, I
pyramid,
saw people say it
man.
looks like Sagira, and I'm like, y'all need to stop. This is too
All
much.
right,
Like
all right.
Sagira's not coming back. Y'all need to let it
No.
go. Like they're gonna give Osiris a puka fish. It's fine. Just let it
Yep.
happen.
Yep. He's the one who teaches us strand, so he may not be immortal,
Now,
but at least he's not without power.
They're gonna let him
yeah.
get a puka fish. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Now, if we do not get that Huga fish as a ghost,
We're
I'm
not
gonna
gonna get
be
it as a
pissed.
ghost. We're not. It's not gonna happen. It's
No,
not.
no, we're still gonna have our ghost. Oh my gosh.
So
If
very
they took
much.
our
I
ghost
Yeah.
think
away from us, I the entire
I
fan base
think
would
they
riot.
should. I think they should allow us choose when we get.
Nah, dog. Nah.
Now,
It's fine.
as an additional companion, I'm cool
Maybe.
with a puka. I would love to have a
Yeah.
puka as an additional companion.
Like Puka
But
fighting with Nolan North. That'd be freaking hysterical. So that just
See, I think you should be allowed to switch in between the two.
nah, it should just be like both of them with you. That'd be very exciting.
yeah,
But also like we're very much in the end game. We are less than a week out, and like by the next week when we do this show, we will be giving our Lightfall first impressions, and I'm kind of excited for that.
I am
um,
I'm very excited as well.
And
I will
then
say, oh, go ahead, Alchemy.
and then oh god, like 3 weeks into the expansion, we'll be doing our show before our day one team goes in.
yeah, you right.
Mm. Y'all have fun with that.
You don't want to come with us?
I don't do day one. I can't.
Hey, you come a long way, Miss Legend Flawless. You can come with us.
Oh no, I just can't get the time off of my day job.
Oh, okay. But but get ready, because next week, starting with the Lightfall launch, we will be doing listener questions again. So get ready for that. We are still giving away a copy of Lightfall. We will be announcing the winner for that on next week's episode. That way you can sort of get in the middle of it, like right after launch. So definitely get excited for that. Like we already said, the entry was in last week's episode. If you want to know how, go listen to last week's episode. And just be excited, y'all. We in the end game. Shit's popping off. Like, stuff's about to get nutty. So just be ready for what comes next. We will be back next week. Don't forget you listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, YouTube, all those great places. Follow us on Twitter at Cosmodrome Radio. Join the Discord. The Discord link is in the description and on the Twitter. So definitely join the Discord. Become part of the community. If you're looking for a clan, we got you. So definitely come check us out. You can still be a part of the community, but not be part of the clan. You can still hang out and be a part of the community. The clan is just a bonus. So like still join the Discord and hang out with us, if that makes sense. So definitely do that. But Alchemy, what's your closing statement for this episode?
I'm excited for Lightfall, and I'm more excited for these Crucible changes because it's going to make Trials and Comp so much more bearable.
Yes. Tower, how you feeling? What's your closing statement?
I'm still waiting to hear Nimbus's voice, Bungie. They still haven't done that yet. I want to hear.
All we need is Ronan. All we need is Ronan.
All we're hearing is Ronan and Rohan.
All we need is Rohan. Rohan sounds amazing. I'm here for it. It's fine.
Oh, absolutely. But I still want to hear. They're keeping it close to the chest, and I applaud them for it. But also, it's so frustrating.
All right, my closing statement is gonna be just help one another. Like, there's people who want a Wendigo this week and GMs. Like, help people get their first GMs done. As the difficulty does rise a little bit, help your fellow Guardians, people. Hell, we're getting Guardian rank soon. That's going to be a whole different ballgame for people and help you get commended for helping your fellow Guardian. So definitely lean into that. Be the light in the universe as light falls. Be the last little bit of light. And we will catch you folks next week here at Cosmodrome Radio. We will see you Starside. Peace out.
Peace.